Hello and welcome everyone. This is Paras from TecheFuture.com. Today we're going to take a look at one of the latest flagships available in the market. We're going to do an in-depth review of none other than the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge. We're going to look at how the phone looks, how the phone feels in your hand, what it can do, some pros, maybe some cons as well, and the all-important question, whether you should or should not go for this phone. First, let's take a closer look at the appearance of the phone. At first glance, you would be surprised to see how elegant and sleek the phone looks. It does not feel heavy as well in the hand. You have some premium metals on this phone, glass and metal touching the palm of your phone. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling to hold the phone in your hand for such a wonderful flagship device. One of the major complaints that many users had in the past was Samsung always used plastic backs for their phones. This time around, maybe they've heard their customers and now they have a Corning Gorilla Glass 4 on the front and the back of the phone as well, which means you get a premium design phone by Samsung itself. On the top of the phone we have a SIM card slot, infrared blaster for the universal remote, and a noise cancellation microphone. On the bottom of the phone we have a standard 3.5mm headphone jack, a USB 2.0 slot, microphone again, and a speaker grill. On the left of the phone, instead of one volume rocker, Samsung has provided two buttons for the volume, and on the other side we have a power button. Now all these buttons feel really nice, really tactile on the hand. They are really comfortable to press. You don't face any inconvenience as well pressing these buttons. Samsung has really designed the buttons really very well. Which brings me to the front of the phone. We have the main home button of the phone, which also doubles up as a fingerprint scanner. What that does is it scans your fingerprint and you can unlock your device with that, and it also means that it's an improved version compared to the Galaxy S5 because you don't have to slide your finger across the button anymore. You just need to place your finger on the button and your fingerprints get detected. On either side of that button we have the capacitive keys, one for the multitasking window and the other one is the back button. And on the top we have the ambient and the proximity sensors, the main speaker grill, and a front-facing 5-megapixel camera. On the back of the phone we have a 16-megapixel camera. The primary camera, it's an ISOCELL technology, one of the best cameras that's out there in the market right now. Next to that we have a LED flash and a fingerprint sensor there. You must be wondering why there is a fingerprint sensor. It helps you to take selfies. You just need to place your finger over there and it will take the selfie very easily. Also, you may want to keep this in mind. The protruding camera might be a bit of an inconvenience. If at all you drop the phone, it might end up damaging the primary camera itself, so you may want to be careful with that. The display of the phone is a 5.1-inch Super AMOLED QHD display, which results to a staggering 577 pixels per inch, which means anything you view on the phone, be it images or videos, everything looks super sharp, super crisp, and super bright. Samsung has a history of producing great displays on their phones, and this phone is no less. One of the main features of the phone is the curved edge design. Like they started with the Note Edge, the Galaxy S6 Edge now has curved display on both sides of the phone. How this helps you is there are various applications and softwares that you can use and take advantage of that curved display. Samsung has added quite a few features for the edge of the phone. For example, you can view your missed calls and notifications and messages on the edge of the display. You can also check the current time when the main display is off. Another feature that they've added is you can swipe in from the edge of the display and view your favorite contacts, and you can either call them and send them messages as well. The camera of the phone is really amazing. I really like taking photos with the camera of the S6 Edge. All the images are super bright and crisp with very less noise. even in low light conditions. Samsung really did put in a lot of effort to make sure the camera is outstanding on this phone. You can also have a tracking autofocus, which means you focus and track on a subject of the phone while you're taking the photo or the video itself, which is a wonderful feature. Another important feature that Samsung has added with the camera is image stabilization. There's optical image stabilization even on videos to avoid any handshakes while you are recording any videos or taking any pictures. Speaking of videos, the phone can take up to 4K resolution videos, which means you get an extremely detailed video with the phone itself, and if you have a 4K display, you can view it in all its 4K glory. Another few things to make a note of while speaking of the camera is the number of effects Samsung has added while you're taking a photo itself. It's very similar to the filters or effects that you get on Instagram. You can add things like a vintage or a grayscale or a faded color or a vignette effect while taking the photo. Another thing that I noticed with the images that I took was the HDR mode was really handy when you take the photos, which helps low light imaging to be very crisp as well. The phone is extremely quick and snappy because of the Exynos 7420 processor that it has, which means it has one quad-core 1.5 GHz Cortex and another quad-core 2.1 GHz Cortex processor, which means you get a wonderful experience while using the phone. You do not face any lags. This is also possible because of the staggering 3 GB of RAM that you get with the phone, which makes multitasking a breeze on the phone itself. You don't have to wait for any apps to load, you don't have to wait for another screen to pop up. Everything happens very quickly on the phone itself. We also ran the Antutu benchmark of this phone and it scored a wonderful 66,595 points with the benchmark test itself, which means it is a high-end premium device with high-end specifications. Because of the high score of the Antutu benchmark and the high-end specifications this phone has, you can run the latest games on this phone as well without any problems whatsoever, without any lags whatsoever. This is also helped by the 64-bit processor that this phone runs on. The phone runs on Google's latest Android Lollipop, which is 5.0.2, and it is running on top with a TouchWiz skin, something that Samsung adds. Now, many people are not big fans of TouchWiz. They don't necessarily like the TouchWiz operating system, but this time around things are a bit different. Samsung has heard their customers, I believe, and this time the bloatware is very less. On the phone, you get a much smoother and a much cleaner experience with the phone itself. You don't have a lot of mandatory apps that you cannot uninstall from the phone, which is a good thing Samsung has done this time around. Because this is the S6 Edge that we are talking about, Samsung has focused a bit on some software features related to the edge of the phone. There's something called edge lighting. What that does is it lights up the edges of the screen when calls or notifications are received. You also have something called People Edge. You can check missed notifications about your most important contacts on the edge screen itself. There's also something called Information Stream. You can view tickers about latest news or score updates, however you set it up to be. And you can also check your Twitter over there as well and get all your notifications over there also. And last but not the least, you have something called the night clock as well. The phone comes with 3 storage variants, 32 GB, 64 GB and 128 GB model as well. The review unit that we have is a 64 GB model. Technically, that much memory should be enough for most of regular users, but if you are someone who likes to keep more data on your phone, more music or more videos on your phone, you might be slightly disappointed because Samsung has taken a big decision to not have a micro SD card slot in the phone. So whatever phone you buy, whatever variant it is, you are stuck with that much internal memory itself. So make sure you take a wise decision and go for a higher model if you think you might end up the 32 GB model itself with the data that you store. Another important feature is the battery of the phone. On paper, it sounds like it has a 2600 milliampere battery, which might be lesser compared to previous Samsung Galaxy phones. However, with practical use, personally, I did not find any issues with the battery life of the phone, even with data usage and mild gaming here and there, and having the screen on for quite some time. I used it quite heavily in the first initial few days when I got the phone itself. Now, even with moderate usage of the phone, I just need to charge it once at the end of the day, which shows that it has a wonderful battery life. And this is something that is one of the best features of the phone in my opinion. The phone has a host of connectivity options as well. You have Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi Direct, personal hotspot, Bluetooth 4.1 as well. It also has GPS, NFC, like I mentioned before. The phone also has an infrared port, and last but not the least, it also has a micro USB 2.0 slot for charging and data transfer as well. Personally, I really like the phone. Yes, it has certain minor flaws, but that don't make much of an impact to me or the way I use my phone. If you are someone who can manage with the limited storage option, then this is a phone I would definitely recommend to anyone as well. All the pros that the phone has outweighs the cons in many ways, so that is something you should really consider. So yeah, that was our review of the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge. If you have any questions or any comments, please make sure you comment down below. Make sure you hit the like button as well, and ensure to subscribe to our channel for more videos from TecheFuture.com.